Hello, my name is Nicolette Merle-Smith of Merle-Smith Sport Horses. I'm a professional horse trainer and coach in the industry. I bought my EQX unit with the expert help of John Golitz in September of 2017. Today, we are working on an off-track thoroughbred named Swash and Buckle, whom we acquired just 2 days ago. He just raced last week. His muscles are tight and contracted. You can see here that his gluteal and psoas muscles are so tight they're causing what most call a jumper bump. Because this horse is so lean and fit, you can really see creases and dimples made by his contracted muscles. And just from handling him for a few days, I can tell that he's also sensitive to the touch in the places where he's sore, which is most of his body, unfortunately. I have learned how to find a horse's sore areas through touch from my horse chiropractor. This figure shows the sore areas of a horse in regular training work. Horses are athletes and we must treat them as so. In this training video, I will show you all of the important treatment positions. This horse has never been pulsed before, to my knowledge. So I'm starting with the machine on, but with the frequency very low so that he can get used to it as I put it on his shoulders. You can tell that he's a little unsure of what's going on, trying to figure out what I'm doing to him and why it feels so weird. And just like that, he starts licking and chewing and taking a deep breath. His eyes soften and he's okay with it. This is the first location to use the large equine double butterfly loop. These are designed to treat the 11 most important muscle groups on the horse's body. It's important to treat these areas for a minimum of 2 minutes each, but may be done longer. The center part of the double butterfly loop straddles across the withers of the horse as the loops come down along the shoulder. You can see here that I'm already getting a reaction after 1 minute where he's relaxed and pooping.
That was fast.
The second location is just behind the wither, where the saddle would sit. I started with the frequency very low so as not to startle him or cause pain. So now I'm turning it up to see what he can handle.
Zoom in. Can you zoom in?
As you can see here, I've turned it up significantly from where it was, and you can see the muscles just in the shadow of the loop twitching ever so slightly. Because this third location can get so painful and tender from bracing because of pain from the hind end or potentially an ill-fitting saddle, I turned the frequency all the way back down before moving it. This third position treats the upper psoas muscle.
Good boy.
For a horse who is obviously in so much pain and extremely fit and potentially wild, I'm very impressed at how he's reacting to his very first pulse session. The fourth position treats the glutes and the quads, which is one of the major components of the engine of the horse. Every time I move to a new position, I always turn the frequency down so that I can turn it back up to gauge how the horse is reacting, especially if I don't know the horse at all. To find the fifth position, place the center of the butterfly loops at the top of the tail head. This treats the hamstrings, which is another integral part of the engine of the horse.
Is it even either side of his tail?
I just don't want to get back there.
I know.
Good boy. Buckle is reacting to even the lowest of frequencies on his hamstrings. Proves to me that this is a very sensitive area for him. The sixth position is just in front of the withers. This treats the lower neck, the meaty part, where the horse would develop tension from bracing with his shoulders. Buckle did not like this in the beginning, but it didn't take long for him to start chewing and relax. The seventh position treats the upper neck and poll. Start with the centerpiece on the underside of the neck. Take the loops up and over the poll and wrap them back down around the top of the neck. As you can see, Buckle does not really want me to be there. He was tender when I touched him there earlier with my fingers, but he seems to really relax. He puts his head down and takes a deep breath. And here comes the chew. For the eighth position, you would allow the butterfly loops to fall naturally next to each other, and then place them over the head down to the base of the neck. Doubling the loops like this helps the pulse penetrate deeper at a lower frequency, which is great for the internal organs. By now, I've determined that Buckle is thoroughly enjoying himself and thinks that this feels pretty good. For the ninth position, you'll pull the loops up to just behind the ears. For this, I've turned it all the way down so that I can turn it back up and see what he can tolerate. He's a pretty mouthy 4-year-old, so it's a little challenging to get him to just chill out, take a deep breath, stop trying to play with my loops. But after about 30 or 40 seconds, he decides that it's okay and stands there just staring outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 10th position treats the lower psoas muscle, which is what pulls the leg forward when the horse is in motion. Before treating this horse in this position, I practice putting the loops on his side without the pulse on, with no frequency. You can never be too careful with a horse that you don't know. It was only after I let him get used to the loops that I actually turned the machine on and came back to it. You can see he's a little unsure about it. but I keep reassuring him that it's okay, and without turning up the frequency, I let him be okay with this one and finish out at that. Here I am working the same muscle on the other side of the horse, the lower psoas. He appears to not be as worried about this side and lets me treat it with no issues. The 11th and final position is the leg in the loop. You would allow the butterfly loops to come together just as in position number 8. Put the leg in the loops and lift the loops up along the shoulder. The front leg and scapula are not attached to the body by a joint, only fascia and ligaments. A good reason to spend extra time on the shoulder. Here I demonstrate using smaller loops on the leg. The horse's lower leg does not have any muscles, only tendons and ligaments, so you can have the frequency higher. It's important to note, if the horse has any unusual swelling, I would recommend pulsing for at least 4 to 6 minutes. My machine only allows me to use one accessory at a time, so I cannot pulse body and limbs simultaneously. I hope you learned something today. Thank you very much, and happy pulsing.